Good evening, everyone. Maybe it's good afternoon wherever you are in the world. Hello, and welcome to the Moorer Experience. My name is Nina Rochelle Moorer, and I am certainly excited to be here with you all this evening. Hello to all of you that are starting to log on. Good evening, Tedra. Good evening, Keisha. Good evening, Patty McCoy, Nona Inslee. Y'all know what we need you to do. We need you to tag and share. Tag a man tonight, right? Tag a man because I've got a very special guest that is going to be with us this evening. And believe it or not, I'm super honored because this is the first time that this guest of mine is going to be talking about or actually sharing their story, sharing their truth. And it gets to happen on the Moorer Experience. So as you're logging on, I can see you in the chats. What city, what state, and or what country are you logging in from? As a matter of fact, if you know some young men, who do you know? What young men do you know that are 18, 20, 25, 30? Tag a man to this live. And not that we're not going to tag the ladies as well, but we definitely want the men to hear this story on tonight, right? On tonight. So you guys, we've been talking about the D word. And for those of you that know, we've been talking about things like depression. We spent a lot of time talking about depression. We had our guest Christian Walker last week that talked about depression in pregnancy. We talked about depression in young men, right? And men. We've talked about Liz Gray. We talked about depression in married women, right? We talked about depression we talked about depression in totality. We talked about divorce, a D word. And tonight, the D word that we're going to talk about is deliverance, right? And it's funny because when I was saying it earlier, I was like, yes, deliver us from Eva, right? I see you, Baltimore, Maryland is in the house. Tag a man that you know. Tag a man that you know. Tag a guy. Tag a young guy. Tag a young guy that you know might be 16, 17. What's up, Jason Jones? Depression with COVID. We've talked about COVID, but tonight we're going to talk about deliverance. Now, my husband and I have encouraged our next guest to really share their story. I see you in Glen Olden, PA. Facebook user, we can't see your name, but it does say Glen Olden, PA. And my husband and I encouraged this gentleman to share his story because oftentimes we don't understand, you guys, when we have a concern about what other people might think, right? We sometimes have a concern, Shanae, about the mindset or the impression that people are going to have after we tell our truth. And we have spoken, hey, Sarita, we spoke with this gentleman and we told him that, you know what, the moment that we begin to be transparent and the moment that we begin to share our truth, right? One, there's a freedom that comes from that. There's a freedom that comes from sharing our truth. The reality of it is that our past does not dictate our presence. And it certainly also does not dictate our future. And you know what I think about when I think about flaws and all, and I think about some of the things that I've been through in my past, right? One person's limp may not be another person's limp, but the reality of it is that we all have them. What I love is that this is a true story, Keisha. This is a true story of someone's perseverance, of someone making a decision to want a better life, a different life. And so we told this gentleman to be authentically himself and that there was a freedom that was going to come because when you are transparent and when you get to a place where you're willing and able to share your story, guess what? The devil can no longer plague you. The devil can no longer plague you with your past. See, because until we're able to really share our story and our truth, ladies and gentlemen, we keep getting tormented from who we were. Because what happens is we continue to try to suppress who we were. We continue to try to hide who we were as if It's a problem because all of us have done something. All of us have done something in our lives that we may not be proud of, but guess what? It was still all a part of our journey. Now, when I think about the word deliverance, and I looked up the word deliverance, and it had a very, very simple meaning. The word deliverance was the action of being rescued or set free, right? Not anymore, Satan. That's right. That's right. That's right. I am not who I used to be, right? Who I used to was. That's right. And you know what else I think about when Steve Harvey did a comedy show. And in this comedy show, Steve Harvey oftentimes used to say, basically, I may not be, who I'm all that I'm going to be yet, but I'm certainly not who I used to be. Right. But to be rescued or set free is the action of being rescued or set free. Right. The action. That's what deliverance is. And so I am so grateful that our friend, our brother, decided that he wanted to share his story on the Mora Experience, that he trusted my husband and I with his story. He trusted us enough, you know what? And not because he wanted any accolades or anything like that, but his greatest desire, and I'm sure he'll share more about this, his greatest desire is to help men, young men and men all around the world to know that there is life beyond the bars. So, and we're going to talk more about that and let you know what we're talking about in just a moment. So I get to bring to the line, you guys, somebody that I have a great level of respect for. This is a gentleman that has a lot of character, integrity, a man of his word. Like when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And, I'll never forget when he said, if I had the time off, I would take the time off to go down to Georgia with you all to help you move. This gentleman, when we were living in West Oak Lane, helped our family move out to Ardmore, and we remained friends. Even though we were in different businesses and different companies, we remained friends. This gentleman is a husband. He's a father. He's a pawpaw. He's a pop, right? Apostle Fred, how are you? This gentleman is going to come onto the line and share his truth. So to all of you gentlemen, I need you all to tag a man, young and or old, as we bring to the line our dear friend, Mr. Trey Gordon out of Philadelphia. What's up, Trey? What's up?
Hey, how you doing, Nina? Thank you for inviting me tonight.
Amazing. Trey, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, been a long time.
It's been a
very long time.
And you know what? You are a man's man. And let me tell you what I mean by that. The one thing that I so appreciate about you is no matter where we are, and I say this to Paul all the time, Trey is going to always make sure that the ladies on our team are okay. And I watched you make sure, like you tell, Tedra, hey, stay right here. I got you. But you make sure all the ladies get to their cars. All of us, every single one of us. I've never been at an event with you where you did not make sure I got to my car okay. And those are the little things, Trey, that I think sometimes, men, it goes unnoticed because there are some people that just don't think that that's a big darn deal. Well, that's a big darn deal to me, that you care enough to make sure that all the ladies are okay. So I wanted to make sure that I publicly gave you your kudos, because that's a big darn deal. I honestly, I know if I'm coming to Philadelphia and, the last few times that I've been there, Paul has not been able to travel with me. You always make sure, you and STB and Barry Allen, you brothers make sure that I'm okay, and not just that I'm okay, but any lady, in the vicinity. So thank you so much for that. Trey Gordon.
Yes, Nina.
The world doesn't know you. You've been hiding, Mr. Gordon.
I've been keeping secrets, you know what I'm saying? But now, thanks to you and Paul, it's gonna come out, so.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal. When I say you've been hiding, I'm saying that I believe there's a gift inside of you that hasn't had the platform to share your story. And so when I think of hiding, I don't mean that you I think you kind of were waiting on the right environment and the right timing to share your truth. So when I say hiding, I don't mean that you were like hiding, but I mean there's so much inside of you that has yet even been tapped on. So I want you to tell the world right now, just tell them a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you do professionally, you know, on your 9 to 5, or actually it's the wee hours of the morning. But yeah, go ahead and explain to everybody that's watching right now, everybody that's going to watch the replay, who you are.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? My name is Trey Gordon. I'm out of the Philadelphia area. You know, I work at Penn Presbyterian. I'm a union painter, and I just, you know, enjoy my life. I enjoy my wife. You know, I enjoy my kids, my grandkids, and I just, you know, try to do the right thing at all times. I was always taught growing up to always protect the women in your life, the ones that you know, the ones that you related to. They always protect them. That's why I do what I do, because my mom taught me good. She instilled in me to always protect who's around you, and that's what I've been doing. You know, and I try to keep that up because it's something that I don't think I have to do. It's something that I enjoy doing. So,
Right.
you know.
No, you were raised right. You were raised right, Trey. You were raised right. And my dad is on here. My dad is on here, so he's going to get to hear your story as well. You know, Trey, we've been friends for some time now.
Yes.
And, how long have you actually been at your current job?
6 years. 6 years next month.
So, but the thing about you is beyond your job, because I don't even think you really treat that like your job. Like you have a natural desire to serve everyone around you. Like it comes natural. Where do you feel that came from? Is that something that you were like as a kid, or?
I was always like, it was something that, like I said, my mom taught me, and it was something that I kept inside of me just to serve and protect. And it's just like, you know, even until, you know, even when she died 17 years ago, I was always there. That was like my best friend. We did everything together. And, you know, I was always taught to be around her, to protect, to watch, and just to be around people, just to make sure everything is good with them. So she instilled that in me, and that's something that I still do to today. Ever since I can go back to maybe like 10 years old, I was that way. So.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely something that's natural. It's not forced. It's never like I watched you in Houston. I watched you when Paul came through and said, hey, you know, Mr. Lloyd needs some people to do X, Y, and Z. You're always one of the first people to say, I'm in, you know, and that also shows not just that you're a servant leader, you're a servant, that you love to serve, but it also shows that you have a lot of leadership quality in you as well. So let's go back now. Let's go back. What area of Philadelphia did you grow up in?
I grew up in North Philadelphia, all through North Philadelphia, Lehigh, Somerset, you know, originally from Columbia Avenue. That's where I was originally from, 3rd and Columbia. Now Cecil B. Moore now, but all through North Philly. I lived down North Philly like most of my life until I was like 6 years old. My mom moved us from down there up to the Broad Alley section because it was getting crazy down there. So she said, it's time to go. So we moved up there, like I said, when I was 6, and I've been up there until I think roughly like the age of 33. So
wow, Uptown. That's what we call it.
Uptown. Yep, Uptown Anthem.
We called it Uptown, right? I don't know what it is now, but back then we thought, oh my God, everybody, we moving uptown, and so I totally understand. So what was life for you? Like you said, North Philly got rough. What was life for you? What was it like as a kid growing up in North Philly? And then let's talk about what the changes that happened once you got uptown.
It was like a big difference because I still always went to school in North Philly. You know, my step-pop used to always drive us down there to go to North Philly. So I always was used, and all my friends was down there. So that was something that I was used to doing, being in North Philly. And this, you know, my thing is that I love North Philly, but when my mom and them said we was moving, I was kind of hurt, but I kind of understood being that young age that it was time for us to move, because if I would have stayed down there, I'd have been in worse, probably like dead or in jail or whatever the case may be. So I'm kind of glad they decided to make that decision, but they also decided to let us continue to go to school in North Philly. So that was a blessing for me to still be around my friend.
So you were living in Uptown.
Yes.
But your dad was driving you down to North Philly for school.
And picking us up, yes.
And picking you up.
Yes.
So that's kind of like, okay, you were able to be with your friends, you're living in uptown, but you're still kind of being molded by some of the things that are taking place and the behaviors that you're seeing from the kids in that North Philadelphia area.
Yes.
Am I right
So
about
I got
that?
the best of both worlds, uptown and North Philly, you know.
Right,
So
right. So at what point, so what high school did you go to?
I went to Edison. I went to
Okay.
Edison and I stayed there for a year and a half. Then I started getting in trouble, you know, cutting class. And we was getting out of school at 118. So there was no need for me to cut class.
Oh,
But I did
Lord.
it anyway. So I left there and then I went to my mom transferred me to Frankfurt. So I went to Frankfurt and I graduated from Frankfurt.
Okay.
You know.
Now, what did you see for yourself growing up? Now you're in Uptown, going to Frankfurt because you had to leave Edison. I think my dad might have gone to Edison as well. Was that on Broad Street?
No, the Edison was at what was that? 8th and eighth and Somerset.
I think
Yes.
I think my dad. I think so. I'm not.
Yeah, 8th and
so.
Somerset.
Yeah, you was out at 1 o'clock. There was absolutely no need to be cut in school. But what did you want out of life? Like growing up in high, did you have a vision of what you wanted to be? Like what was your goal?
I always wanted to go in the military. That was my goal, to go in the military. You know, I wanted to go into the Navy because people in my family was in the Navy and the Marines. And I said, that's something I think I can do. But what changed my mind is the streets. You know, I got caught up in the streets and that like sidetracked me and I forgot all about the Navy. And I wish I would have went in because I would have had time in and I'd have been retired by now. You know?
Right. So at what age did you start dibbling and dabbling and getting yourself into trouble? What kind of trouble? Because people are like, I don't know what he's talking about. We kind of skirting around now, right?
Around 15. 15.
So 15 you were in high school. Okay.
Yes.
So what started to happen when you were 15?
You know, I was introduced to certain things and you know, it's kind of tricky because how I went about it, I didn't have to do it, but I did it because I wanted to be, I wasn't pressured into it because I was always a leader. I was never a follower. So it was just something I wanted to try at the time. And when I got introduced to it and I started seeing how things was flowing, I just got right into it and started flowing right with it. And then things just start escalating more and more and more.
What's the it? Because they don't know what the it is. Only I know what the it is.
Well, at that time, it was marijuana. At that time, you know, marijuana. You know, we was doing the little joints, you know, for $1 and all that stuff. And then when I got older, that's when stuff started escalating to more and more bigger things. You know, I started meeting different people.
Joints were $1?
Yeah.
$1.
$1 in high school. $1. Yeah. We used to roll up like 50 of them and sell all of them in like 20 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
So you're 15, you're going, at this point, you were still in Edison.
Yes.
Okay, so it started in Edison. Is that something that you continued once you got to Frankfurt?
Yes. It was even bigger then when I went to Frankfurt. Because when I went to Frankfurt, I didn't really know anybody. So then I started meeting people. It was only like 2 people that I knew in Frankfurt. So when I got there, you know, we was all doing the same thing and they knew more people than I did. So we just started incorporating where it got bigger. And it was just went from 2 of us to like 5 of us, you know?
Wow. So were you like leading the other 4 people or were like, who was kind of like the head?
I was always in charge. No matter what I did, I was always in charge with, you know, from high school all the way until I stopped doing it. I was always in charge.
So you graduate out of high school and you still continue to, was it just still marijuana at that time?
Nah, it was bigger things then.
So when did that change? Like
that changed like when I graduated from high school, I started working in Abington. And Abington wasn't doing as much for me as I needed to do at the time, as far as money wise. So that's when I started, but then I stopped because I didn't want to be in there and get caught doing it. So I stopped working. And that's when it just started escalating. I went from having a 3-man crew to like a 20-man crew. And then we just start moving. And then we start going to different neighborhoods. And then we start going to different states. So we started going to different states. My 20-man crew went to a 200-man crew in 5 different states.
Wow.
So, and you know.
Wow. And what part of the city were you living in at that point?
At that time, I was living in the Broad Island section, but I was never home because I was always out of town. I was always in different states. Like I'd be in this state one day, this state another day. I was always traveling. You know, I come home, drop stuff off, get clothes, get money, and I'll be out. That's how I was, just on the road all the time, always traveling.
Wow. Now, so your parent, your mom is still alive at this time, right?
Yes.
She never knew?
She knew everything. That's the relationship me and my mom had. And whatever I did, my mom knew because I always told her. So nobody can ever go to her and be like, well, Trey did this, Trey did that. She knew everything I did, everything. That's the relationship we had.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. So God is a true keeper because here you are now with 200 and plus people running under you. You're going from state to state to state to state.
Mm-hmm.
And you basically are, I mean, there's never, was there a fear, like fear of losing your life, fear of getting caught? Like,
not at all. The guys I had around me, you couldn't even get close to me. You know, you couldn't even get close to me because if you get 2 steps to me, they're going to push you 3 steps back. But that's how I was always protected by God, of course, too. But I also had my crew. You know, if you wanted to talk to me, you had to make an appointment to talk to me. That's how I was. That's how bad it was. And then if I decided if I wanted to talk to you or not. If I didn't want to talk to you, then I let my second man in charge talk to you.
That's like the Denzel thing, like, you no longer talk to me. You don't talk, you want to know something. You don't talk to me.
That's
right?
where he got it from. He got it from me. He got it from me.
So, okay. So at what point now, how old are you when all of this is happening? You've got 200 plus people up under you. You're traveling all over, back and forth. People can't even get to you because your team, your squad, your team, your guys, your runners are all basically making sure nobody really can get to you. How old are you at that point?
I was in I want to say my mid-20s.
Mid-20s.
Mid-20s, yeah. Maybe like I say about 22. You know.
Then what happened, Trey?
It just started escalating more and more and more, you know. And that's when my crew started getting bigger and bigger, and we started spreading out more. You know, I was leaving the guys here in Philly, and I go to other states, and then I come back because a lot of the guys didn't want to leave Philly. So the ones that didn't want to leave, I let them stay. And me and other guys just travel, like different states. We go to Washington, we go to Maryland, we go to New York. We was just everywhere, Jersey, you know, everywhere. The 5 places that I wanted to go, that's where we was at. But our main part, where we was in Delaware a lot. That's where we stayed at a lot, in Delaware. You know, what's
so crazy is I tell Paul all the time, do you see how Trey be chewing on that toothpick? Yep. I always tell Paul, anybody that got sense better know Trey is somebody I would not mess with. But a lot of people don't know your background. Okay, so lead us a little further. You're in your 20s now. You're kind of like on top of the world. Life is good for you, right? Why did you not move your mom? Why did y'all stay living in Uptown?
Because my mom loved the neighborhood and she didn't want to move. I wanted to buy my mom brand new cars. I did get a house remodel for her. I wanted to buy a brand new car. She didn't want it. You know, she said, that's your money. You know, and you do, you know, I did things for her, like on the down low, like bought her stuff here, bought her stuff there, stuff money in her bag, stuff like that. But other than that, she never wanted to move. She wanted to stay there, you know. And when I left, when I was out of town, I had a guy sit outside my house the whole time I was gone. The front of her house and the back of her house. So she was always protected, you know. And I said, if you had to move, you call somebody to take your place. But I want her house protected at all times.
I know that's right. I know that's right. So you're on top of the world is what you probably believed at that time. And then what happened? When did it all come to a head?
When I started getting older and my daughter came about. My daughter was born and I said, it's time to stop, you know. So, you know, because I wanted to be around to see her grow up and I wanted to be around to see her kids grow up. So, you know, I stopped and that was it. And they was trying to pull me back in, but I was like, I'm not coming back in. I'm not coming back in. And they tried for years because they wanted my skills, you know, my skills and my ability. They wanted that because they knew what I was doing to get them. If I passed it to them, that'd get them to where they need to be. And I was like, I'm done with it altogether. I'm done. So, you know, when she came along, then I had my son, of course, then I had my other son. And it was just like, then my daughter, she got older, she started having kids. So I was like, I have grandkids now. I'm definitely done. So, and that made me stop. And that was like one of the best things I could have did, Nina, because I said I survived what I did. You know, I survived jail and I survived the ground. So that helped me out. And then when I thought to myself and I said, God got me through this, it's time to start doing the right thing now. So that's when I started getting into church and started doing the right things, preaching to the younger guys, saying, look, this is not the life for y'all, because you're going to end up in two places, dead or jail. So, you know, I still talk to them to this day. That don't, like the guys in my church, and, you know, the guys be like, come on, let's get together and write a book. Because a lot of guys in my church, they did the same thing I did. So they was like, we need to get together and write a book, or, you know, get together and do something. And because there's a lot of people out here that need to know what we went through and need to know that it's dangerous out here with what you're doing now. Because when I was doing it, it wasn't as bad as it is now. You know, people wasn't getting killed like they getting killed now. You know, people wasn't getting locked up like they getting locked up now. So when I tell people, you know, all you have to do is look at the news, stay right up with current events, and you'll see all this stuff that's going on. Like we talked about it earlier, what happened in Texas. You know, you have to be aware, and you have to just think and say, look, if I do this, where am I going to end up? You know, if I do that, where am I going to end up? So you have to think about your family. Your family come first. God come first. Your family comes second. You always have to think about that, because if you don't, and if you don't have nobody backing you, because nobody in my family ever did what I did. I was the first person to do it. I have 6 uncles. Nobody never did that, what I did. Selling stuff on the streets. They never did it. You know, and they was like, when it was brought to them what I was doing, they came to me and they was like, well, why are you doing that? I said, I'm doing this because this is what I want to do. And they was like, you know, and one of them said something, well, you know, I'm gonna have to talk to you. I said, you can't talk to me because my buddies ain't gonna let you talk to me. And he tried to make a move on me, and they grabbed him. I said, look, I'm telling you now, you know, if they do something to you, it's not my fault. I can tell them to stop, but once they jump on you, that's it. So, you know, we got that straight and everything was good from that. But, and just seeing Mrs. Moore, just seeing stuff, how people was around me, like all my buddies are gone now. They either dead, or I got buddies doing 365 years. And it's just crazy. You know, I'm glad I got out when I got out of it, because I seen what was coming, you know, and it wasn't good, you know, because like a lot of my friends was dying. A lot of them was going to jail. A lot of them was just leaving because they were scared of their life, because they did things that I didn't know about and people was after them. Because I always told people, if you do something, let me know so I can try to straighten it. If you do something, I don't need nothing coming back to the family, nothing at all. So you need to if you want to do something wrong, let me know. And I just tell you to go ahead and about your business, you know, because it was a lot. It was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things happening. And I was just trying to keep everybody straight and everybody on the straight, narrow path. Because if you do wrong going to come to you. So
that's funny that you're saying you were trying to keep them on a straight and narrow path, in a path that wasn't straight and narrow from the beginning, right?
You're right. It wasn't.
So let me ask you a question. So did you ever so you missed jail? You never got incarcerated?
Mm-mm.
You never got caught?
Mm-mm.
Wow. Did any of your people in your crew get locked up?
Yeah, but let me tell you this though, to go back, we was in a state, and this was funny. Y'all think about it all the time. I said I had to share this. And, you know, I was in the house and I came outside. And when I got outside, it was like 75 cops out there. And they had all my buddies on the ground, you know, with the little, not the handcuffs, but with the plastic joint on them.
Yeah.
And I came out and it's like, get on the ground, get on the ground. I said, are you talking to me? It's like, yeah, we talking to you. I said, you see what I have? I have all white on from head to toe. I'm not getting on the ground. Y'all gonna do what y'all had to do while I'm standing, because I'm not getting on the ground. So they put the handcuffs on me, took all of us down to the station, ran everything, and they let all of us go because we didn't have anything on us, and we didn't have anything in our profile, so they had to let us go. And ever since then, they had an eye on me. So, you know, I used to always get into it, because I didn't care when I was younger. I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing. You know, I fight cops. I fight anybody. I didn't care. I used to tell the guy, I said, take your badge off, take your gun off. We can fight right now, because I didn't care, you know, because it was like, I didn't have a worry in the world, because I knew what I had behind me. I knew what I had by me. So it was just like, it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. That's how I thought. But now, if you look at me now, you be like people used to see me in the street, they be like, we ain't mess with that guy. Because I had this one guy, we was friends for like 30 plus years. And they used to see us coming. They be like, that's Trey and Cal. We got this, move out their way, because they crew is vicious, you know. And we used to go to other states, and they used to always ask us, they'd be like, they asked the people that the state that we go to, that we take their territory. They said, well, how did y'all let these guys come down here and do what they do? They said, well, it's too many of them. They too strong. We can't do nothing with them. But it was just like I said, I'm glad I can talk about this right now. I'm glad you and Paul got me to talk about this, because this is something people needed to hear, because there's a lot of people out here that went through what I went through, and a lot of people that might go through what I'm going through, and they need to have it, and they need to think like, look, let me think twice before I make that move, because that move you make might be your last move. So everybody.
Let me ask you a question, Trey. What was because life was good for you. You had parents that loved you. What was the lure? Because no one looking at you right now, no one that knows you would ever believe you were that person that we're talking about right now. No one. Like, as a matter of fact, if you hadn't told me yourself, I told you, and somebody bet me money, I'd have lost all my money, because I strictly would have been like, no, not Trey, never, right? So thinking back, right, you were spared for a purpose. There's a heavy call on your life that I don't even think you realize is there. But let's go back, because what was the lure, or what is the lure? Because there's a mother that's listening right now, right? There's a father that's listening right now that needs to know what are some of the signs that they should be looking for, that their children are headed in the wrong direction, that their children might be dibbling and dabbling, in street pharmaceuticals. What is the lure that pulls them to the streets?
The lure is peer pressure. That's one. Another one is like, parents have to be aware of what their kids are doing and where their kids are at all times, because the difference is like, kids will be out in the street and they'll do things. A lot of my friends, they used to hide their stuff. Like, they go out and buy Jordans and buy all that stuff, and they wouldn't take them home because they didn't want their parents to know where they got the stuff from. So they used to hide the stuff at somebody else's house, or they had a little ditch place where they go ditch it at, and they go get it when they wanted to wear it. And that's what they have to look out for. They have to look out for the hours that they come in the house, the things that they have, the things. If you don't notice your child, like, first of all, you have to pay attention to your kids. That's the number one thing there. Because if you're not paying attention to them, they'll slip right under you. And my mom always knew. She always told me, she said, look, I don't like what you're doing, but I can't stop you from doing what you're doing. All I can do is pray for you and tell you to be careful. That's all I can do. And that's what I did. And everybody didn't know my mom. My mom was like the best. She did everything for me. And like I said, I didn't have to do this, because coming up, I had everything I wanted. I did this because I wanted to do it, not because I had to do it. See, a lot of people out here, they do it because they have to do it. I never had to do it. It was just everything I had was always given to me. So, and that's why I tell people, I said, before you make your choice, really think about it. Because I tell people now, the younger guys, I said, you either going to go to school, you either going to go on the service, or you're going to go get a trade. Those are your three things right there that'll get you where you need to be, if you really want it. Because like I said, I wanted to go into the service. I wanted to go into the Navy. My youngest son he's in the Navy now. He's out the Navy now, but he just got a job in Japan. So he's going to move to Japan in a couple of weeks. So, and he's always, in him growing up, he's always say, Dad, what are you doing? What are you doing? I used to always keep it from him and say, well, you don't need to know. Because there's a lot of my younger cousins came to me and said, Trey, look, I need to make some extra money. I said, you don't have the street knowledge. I don't want to do what I do. You give me 500, I give you 1,500 back. That's what I used to do for them. And that was like, they was in college. They didn't have to have a job because they was getting their money back 3 times. So, and that's what I did. I said, well, that's the closest you're going to get to the streets, is investing and I giving you a return back.
Wow. So you said that is something, and I see everybody's typing in the chat, to be attentive, pay attention, parents, right? So what, let's just say a mom finds out, parents find out that their kids are in the streets, that they're, selling marijuana or selling some drugs or whatever. Is there any recourse for that parent? Like, because you can't stop the kid, right? But we all know that your story is not the normal story. Your story of, I just got out, because most times too much for them to let you out.
Yeah. But see, I was the boss, so it didn't matter. Right. Yeah. So
right. So what does the parent do that finds out that their children or child might be selling in the streets.
Yeah. Well, when my step pop found out, he put me out. He said, you have to go. I said, well, he said, you either stop doing what you're doing or you have to go. I said, how many days do I have? I wasn't going to stop doing what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? Because I had too many places I can go to. So I said, how many days do I have? Because he wouldn't have known. He was snooping in my room. And he found a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of paraphernalia and stuff under my bed. So he said, well, I found what was under your bed. You have to go. I said, all right, well, how many days do I have? He said, you have a week. I said, I'll be out of here in 3 days. And I went and stayed with my aunt. She was living at 69th and Broad. And she had 2 sons. And one of them was the one that wanted me to, he was investing his money and I was flipping it for because he was going to Cheney at the time. So I told him, I said, well, this is what I'm doing. And, I had, when you're in that business, you have a lot of female friends. And, he was like, well, he's like, cuz, Dad, you got another female coming over here? And it was like, they were just coming over. All of them wasn't my friend. They was like, a lot of them I had business partners. I had female business partners too. I even had a female bodyguard, and they'd come over there and, they'd be like, oh, what we doing tonight? I said, we going to count this money. Then we going to leave out, and it was just, my thing is just for parents out here that if you have any idea or you think that your son or your daughter is doing something, just pay close attention to them, because every little thing they do or every little thing you think they doing, they'll tell you, I'm not doing it. So you have to pay attention to what they doing. Not saying go snoop all through their stuff, but just pay attention. Pay attention to what the things they wearing. Pay attention to what they, they different lingo. Because when you out in the street like that, you have a whole different lingo sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Your whole language might change, because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're trying to keep up with the people that you're dealing with at this time. So you have to just pay attention all the time, because if I didn't tell my mom, she would have eventually found out, but it would have took her a while to find out, because I stayed away from my mom a lot. Like if she saw me with something different, y'all be like, well, where you get that from? I said, well, I borrowed it from somebody. Somebody my man Cal let me hold it or whatever. But she knew. That's why I never lied to my mom, and I always kept her in the loop. So whatever happened, she knew. When people see my mom on the street, they knew to protect my mom. Like I do now with all the females. That's how these guys was with my mom. If you said something bad about my mom, I'm gonna tell you this story. We was at Broad Alley one day. We was going down north, down Girard. And I was coming through the turnstile, and there was a guy in the way, and we was talking and talking. Then all of a sudden he just flipped on me and started talking crazy. And he said something about my mom. I said, what did you say? And before I knew it, my buddy and I pulled out a gun and busted the guy, beat the guy on the head with the gun. So now the guy come from out of the SEPTA booth. He's like, I called the cops. So now we trying to scramble to get out of there and stuff like that, because they protected my mom like they protected me, because they knew how much I love my mom. So whatever, if anybody said anything, anybody did anything to my mom, them guys, they was going to take them out or make them wish they never said it. So,
wow. So I'm going to say, Trey, no go snooping they stuff, right? I'm going to say that as a mom, just, yes, anything in my house, I can go look through, because I pay, as a parent, we pay the bills. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of turn on that. I'm going to have to go a little bit against you on that one, no snooping they stuff. But you made something, you hit a point, like pay attention to who they hang around. That's good. But you also said, pay attention to their language. Mm-hmm. That I didn't even think about. That you're right. There are kids, they talk a little different when they start hanging around the wrong crowd. You could tell in their attitude. And you brought up a point too when you said peer pressure. People don't realize that peer pressure isn't always another kid pressuring your kid, right? That's right. Peer pressure really sometimes is just kids looking at what other kids have.
Yes, it is. Yes.
That they had it. Mm-hmm. And so there's many different forms of peer pressure. Mm-hmm. And even right now, my daughter's friend Brayla, like she has a nephew that was being bullied, and now is like really, really having some issues emotionally and mentally, because it all started off with bullying. Mm-hmm. So we really do have to pay attention. Yes. We really do have to pay attention. But, so Trey, I think it's really interesting. Like when you say, because I decided I was done and I just got out. Like I think that is captivating to me, because I know people that have been in the game, right? And it wasn't that easy to just say like I'm, you know, and I get it. You're saying like I'm the boss, I was the boss, but to decide like I'm done and like just go cold turkey, like I'm done, to decide that you were just gonna get out. Was there ever a time when you were tempted to go back when the money wasn't the same on your legitimate job?
Plenty of times. people was people still trying to pull me in now, Nina. Like, for
Wow.
instance, like last week, some guy called me. You know, he up there, he up there in the game, he making money, and he was like, "Come on, Trey, I need you. I need you." I said, "You don't need me. You need God. That's what you need." Because I said, I'm done with the game. I want to be around. I'm married now. I have kids. I have grandkids. I have a good life. You know what I'm saying? I have my Tava family. I have a good life. I don't need that anymore. I'm done with it. You know, so, and like I tell them, like, this so hard because the money we used to make, we used to make so much money, we used to have to stuff it in our shoes because they couldn't fit in our pockets. We was walking around with shoes like we had high heels on. That's how much money we had stuffed in our shoes. And it was like, it was so crazy. And I, like I said, I helped a lot of people. Like I was telling my mom one day, I said, "You know how much money I have in the street?" And she's like, "I can imagine." And she told me, she said, "You know what, son? Leave that money alone because it's dead money. Leave it alone. Whatever they owe you out there. I got millions of dollars floating around in the street that people owe me." She said, "Leave it alone." Because it's like if you collect it, then that way you might have to hurt somebody to try to get it back. So just leave it alone. Like you gave it to them, or however y'all did the transaction. It went from your hands to their hands. Now it's a done deal. You got to leave it alone. And I took heed to that. My mom been gone 17 years now. And I took heed to that. I promised her different things. Like I promised I'd never get a motorcycle. I never got a motorcycle. As bad as I want one, I never got one. There's certain things that I promised her. And I tell Tedra all the time, I wish you could have met my mom because they so much alike, And she'd have loved my mom. And people tell all the time, if you'd have met Trey mom, her name was Frida. If you'd have met Frida, you'd have loved her because y'all were so much alike. And,
Wow.
she taught me a lot. She taught me right from wrong because my dad was never in my life. Because the one time he came over there talking junk. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to tell you this. You got 10 seconds to get out my house. Or I'm going to show you something." And I went to my basement where I kept all my stuff, my tools at. Well, you know what a tool is. Where I kept all my tools at. And I said, "You be up here when I come back." And she met me at the top of the steps and just grabbed me like, "Son, look, it's not even worth it. Don't do it." Because I was mad at him because he used to always, when he did come around, he used to say, "Well, I got you this, I got you that." My mom used to always cover up for him. She bought it, but she used to always say he did it. And I said, "Stop covering up for him. I know he didn't do anything." So still, he's gone too. So my mom is gone. My dad's, all my grandparents are gone. I have nobody but my immediate family and Tedra and my kids. That's all I have. And I'm thankful that I have them because I'm thankful to be here, to sit here with you right now and tell you the things that I did. It's a blessing that I'm still here because I did a lot of stuff and I didn't always sell dry. So I loan shark too. I did that too. So it was a lot of things that we did, and, I'm not proud of it because I know we hurt a lot of people and I apologize for that. But, it was something that I did and I regret doing. I pray every day. I'm sorry for the people that I hurt. I'm sorry for the people that my friends hurt, my partners hurt, and it's just like, because people used to bring us stuff and I'd be like, I can't take that. Like people bring us like $500 food stamps. They had the food stamps back in the day with the little book.
In the book,
Yeah.
I had them food stamps.
And I said, "Look, I'm not taking them food stamps because that's taking food out of your kid's mouth. I refuse to do it. Now I would give you something if you want it, but I'm not taking those food stamps." And people used to bring us TVs, and people even gave us brand new cars. They signed over the title and gave us brand new cars. This one guy, he bought a car, had the car for 2 months. He signed the title over to us because he was strung out that bad.
For the high.
Yep. We was getting so much stuff, fur coats and all kinds of stuff. It was like I was running a pawn shop. I was like, I don't want that stuff. I want them trinkets, But it was just the guys was getting it. It was their money. Whatever you want to do with it, you do with it. Because them guys, I'm saying my lowest man was making $3,000-4,000 a day. My lowest man,
Wow. So Trey, I know that you had a hard time. Like you really did not want to share this story.
Mm-hmm.
what was one of the what were the reasons, rather, not just one of the reasons, but what were your reasons for not wanting to share your story?
I didn't want to share because I didn't want people, like I told you earlier, look at me differently. You know, even though I changed, and that was so many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes people have a tendency to say, "Oh, well, he did this, he did that. He was a bad guy. He was a bad guy." There's a lot of bad guys out here, and there's gonna always be bad guys out here. Like they said in New Jack City, it's a Nino Brown in every major city, you know. And it's gonna always, no matter if I leave, it's gonna be somebody else to take my place, and if they leave, it's gonna be somebody else to take their place. That's just how the rotation is when you're in that business. But I don't want people to look at me different, and if you do, I'm sorry you feel that way. But I'm going to be me because I know I changed and God kept me here to continue to do what I do, to serve. And that's what I do. I serve. So, you know, if you look at me different, I'm sorry, but I'm going to continue to do what I got to do. As long as I'm walking around on this earth, I'm going to do what I have to do.
Ain't nobody going to look at you different.
And I'm sorry. I hope now I'm sorry if y'all feel that way. But I just wanted to share. And I thank the Moors so much for giving me this opportunity and for pulling it out of, because it's out now. It's a relief. You know
what we say about the diamond? The diamond. What did we learn about the diamond? The word it is transparent.
Yep, right? You're right.
So you're getting so much love in the comments, Trey. I know you can't really see all of the comments, but you're getting a lot of love, and ain't nobody gonna look at you differently because I got tools too.
Yeah, okay? I know. I think my son is on here too. The one that's moving to Japan.
He said, "That's my dad."
Yeah. So.
Right. So people have a lot of respect for you for sharing your story. Trey, you know, you actually have a story of triumph. Like I said, I know that there are not a lot of people who have this same story, but I believe that God spared you and God covered you and God kept you even in the midst of all of what you are doing for such a time as this. And I would only pray that this would be the first of many times that you share your story, because there is a young man or young woman, because guess what? It ain't just the guys now, y'all.
I know.
There are some young men and there are some young women and some older men and older women that need to hear your story, and they need to know that there is victory, that there is a way out, that it really does just take a decision. And you know, I want you to leave the guest and everybody that's either listening live right now or you know, anyone that may watch the replay on YouTube or right here on Facebook. If there's someone that feels like this is their only way, right? That there's no way out, and they are like at their wits' end, and they think that this is the only thing that they can do. You know, if there is someone that feels trapped and they feel like they can't get out, you know, what would you say to the person? What's your last words that you would like to say to the persons that may be watching this or watching the replay, that are either living the life that are in the streets, that are selling right now, or even contemplating, you know, selling, thinking that there is no other options for them? What would you say to that person right now?
It's always an option. This is always a way out. It might not be an easy way out, but there's always a way out. And like I tell people now, and I tell a couple of my buddies now with the health and wellness that I'm in with Tava, you know what I'm saying? I said, what I'm doing now and what I did before, it's the same thing. It's hustling. It's moving product, but it's legally and it's illegally, but it's still the same way. And me to tell people this, if you pray on it and you do what you have to do, and like I said, I was a boss. I was a boss for a long time, for like 15, 20 years. And there's always somebody, there's always a way you can get to that person that's over you. If it takes somebody else to go with you and do it, there's always a way you can get out. You just have to pray and say, look, give them an explanation why you want to get out. I have a family. I have a life. I want to live. Those are my reasons to get out. Now, we can still maintain and be friends, but I can't do what you do no longer, because now it's weighing down on me and I want to be around for my family. And guys came to me and told me that. And I was like, look, I respect that. You know, you did what you did. You made the money you made. If you want to leave, go ahead and leave. I'm not going to make you do anything you want to do, because nobody will make me do anything I don't want to do. Like I said, I will fight you tooth and nail. If you tell me I can't do something and I really want to do it, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. And if I don't take care of it, I'm going to have my buddies take care of it. So, but to me, saying this out here, though, if you don't get in it, you don't have to worry about getting out of it. You know, so just stay focused. And like I said, go to school, go to the military, get you a trade, whatever you have to do. Like I'm glad my sons never got. I got 2 sons. I'm glad they never got into it. You know what I'm saying? They wanted Dominique is almost 30, and my other one will be 36, and they never got into it. They knew what I did, but they never got into it. And I instilled in them and all my younger cousins, this is something that you won't do. If you need something, you ask for it. I'll make sure you get it. But you will never put your hand on drugs. You will never put your money on anything illegal. Everything you do, go to school. And that's what they did. They all went to school. They all went to service. And I'm proud of them. Like I said, when I went to my son's graduation, it was a blessing because him and my cousin Les, I didn't know Les was in that and he was in Chicago. And they both graduated at the same time. And that was a blessing to me to see my son and my cousin, which is around the same age, graduate from the military.
Wow.
And that was awesome. You know?
So basically your son ended up doing what you desired.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
you desired all along, you got to see it play out through your son. So I think we got to touch this because you touched on it, right? I think we got to touch this before we go. Normally we would be ending right now, but we cannot.
I don't want to go, Nina.
Yeah, we cannot leave without touching this. I say this all the time as well. So aside from your full-time job, you paint on the side, you do a little carpentry and things.
I do floors,
floors and everything on the side, but you also are a network marketer. You and your wife, you know, when you had when your daughter Taylor was going to get ready to college, I know that you guys needed some other linear income, you know, another stream of income because she was going to college, and you didn't want things to be tough at home, you know, with your existing obligations and things like that. So network marketing really helped you both with, you know, not just Taylor, but all of the other kids too, and your grandkids as well. But I often say, if people would understand network marketing and what we do is really just what you said.
Yeah.
It's you, the distributor, right?
Yeah.
You, the head man, go find other people to distribute a product for you. It is the same. We flip the product. So we take these packs and we flip them. And the good thing is so it was maybe the transition for you was an easier transition to understand because here you were selling something that was pumping something into people that was bad. Now you pumping something into them that was
good.
The same principle of investing to get the product, finding other people to distribute the product for you, flipping that product to re-up, right? And it's all legal. It's all legal. So I need you to to the young man that might be watching this and thinks that they can. I'm sorry, y'all. They're cutting the grass outside, so that's what you hear in the background. And they would be on the porch right now, right? While I'm actually talking to you. But there's a young man that's watching right now. There's a young woman that's watching right now, right? We even have something investment club where we're showing them, hey, maybe you don't want to feel like you're selling any product, right? It's the same concept. Maybe there's a middle-aged woman, a middle-aged man. Somebody's watching that maybe was in the streets before, that used to flip products, right? That used to have to watch over their shoulder. What do you now want to say to that person who's thinking like there's no way out, but we got something for them? What are you telling that young man, young woman, that man that used to be in, maybe that man that just got out of lockup, right? Maybe that man that just got out of lockup, and guess what? The reality of it is, what else he gonna do once he get out here?
Yeah.
What else he gonna do? Can you talk to that man, that woman?
Yes. Get in where you fit in. Like I said, these products are amazing. Everything about Tava is awesome. Like I said, anything that you used to do or want to do, this is what you should do. Tava is all or nothing. You know what I'm saying? We have the investment thing. We have, you know, the health and wealth. We have the products. We already start the crypto. No matter what one you want to pick is one that you can do. You know, you have 3. You can pick one. Crypto is coming soon, but you still have the other 2. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I used to always say it's easy. And Nina says it's not easy. It's simple. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing you have to look at. You have to look at, like I know it might be a struggle for some people, but if you put your heart into it and you just say, look, I can do this. I can do this. And we always here to help you no matter what. You have people, this is a family. We always here to help you. You can do it and you can get by and do what you have to do. I say right now, do the right thing. If you don't want to go to school, you don't want to go into service, get into this network marketing game in Tava and do what you have to do and take yourself to the top, because this is right here is where it's at, you know.
Boom, boom, Boom. Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon.
Thank you too.
We're loving you. They said it's the same principle with a different outlet. Yes.
Yes.
I am so proud of you. I'm
Thank you.
so grateful, like I said, that you chose this platform to actually tell your story for the first time. And I know that this is the first of many. I know that you really didn't share everything either.
Oh no.
I know you didn't.
We'd have been on here for 2 more hours.
But we get the gist of it. We get the gist of it. The reality is that you know that there was a way out. You took the
Yes.
way out, and now not only do you work your job, but you also have skills that you
Yes.
obtained from your job that you use outside of your job, and then with your network marketing business, you applied the same skill set
Yes.
that you had when you were in the street with distributors flipping products,
Yep.
and now you're doing it a very legal
Yep.
way. You're
Illegal to legal. That's how you do it. That's what you said.
There was
I'm gonna get make me up a shirt like that, Nina. I need a shirt like
illegal
that.
to legal, right? Illegal to legal, which is why we say you can come from jail or Yale.
That's right.
It doesn't even matter. All you
That's
gotta have is some grit. And
That's
I'm gonna
right.
tell you something. We can show you how to turn your life around. So, Mr. Gordon, they are excited. Thank you so much for sharing your story here, for being our guest this evening. We'll see you another time. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, y'all. So you know what? It was a good one. This was good today. Skill transfer, you guys. That's what you heard this evening. That we have a gentleman that decided, you know what, I want out of the streets, and now is living his life, in a way that he's making himself proud. He's making his mom proud. Miss Frida would be proud of you. We're proud of you, Mr. Gordon, for wanting to share your story and for wanting to be more transparent. And you know what? There's a freedom that you feel now from being transparent, you guys. And the one thing that Mr. Gordon said as he began to continue to talk to us about what was going on, about his past, is that every time we talked about it, Trey kept feeling more free, more and more free, because I'm gonna tell you, judge not lest ye be judged. All right. And so we're really, really look at that. There are so many people right now that are very, very, very excited that you shared your story, Trey. Thank you for choosing this. Like I said, again, the Mora experience as your platform. Maybe you know a gentleman, maybe you know a young lady, that might be in the game, y'all, that they don't know how to get out, right? Maybe you got somebody that's thinking about it. Maybe you got somebody that came out of and being incarcerated and doesn't have a way now to earn income. You heard Mr. Gordon say all it is a transfer of skill set. All right, it's a transfer of skill set. So I am Nina Moore, you guys, with the Mora experience. My husband is running the system for us, right? So that we're operating in a spirit of excellence. Listen, don't you ever forget that no matter what you're going through in life, that you can live again, you can laugh again, you can hope again, you can dream again, and you most certainly can bling again. All right, y'all, we are.